So right now, I want to talk about the sexual abuse. Okay, so this thing of just living our truth and just loving, loving by example first and foremost. And I say, at 38 years old, I'm gonna get raw and real, and I'm gonna just ask God to just for the woman that's so I'm about to say, just ask you to just hear me and just give an ear and just help me with what it is, the words that's about to come out of my mouth. And I just ask God to just help me let go. I just ask God just let go of that anger, let go of the resentment, let go completely of the anger, feeling like a victim, feeling powerless. When that man raped me, when raped me, and I remember being on the bed, and the pain was so great that I had to. I felt like I had to. I felt like I had to. Like it was like my spirit left my body, and I don't remember the pain, but it was like when that spirit left my body. Right, I remember it was like I was looking down. It was like an out of body experience that I remember just being about 6 years old. Right? And I was laying on the bed, and I just remember just laying there, just hoping and wishing that somebody would come and get this man off of me. I was hoping that like one of my parents would just suddenly just bust into the door and like get this man off me because he was hurting me. He was hurting me, and like I just laid there, and it was like nothing that I could do. I was completely defenseless, and so I remember just laying there, and I remember um, like looking up at my body, and there was like blood everywhere. So he did it. We back up because it was my grandmother's boyfriend, and so he did it right there on her bed, and that's all I remember was just pure anger. So leading up to it, my brother and I were outside, and we were playing, and I love my brother. But it's like I love my little brother. I love him to death. And we was we was playing with like one of those like little Louisville sluggers, and we had what looks like an old train track, the wood part, and somebody had made a fence with us. So I remember just being out there, and I was just hitting it. I was just hitting it. I was just hitting it. I don't even know why. And then he was like, "Well, stop hitting that, right?" And I was like, "Nah, like I'm playing with my brother. No, right?" So, and I remember asking again, "Stop hitting it." And I was like, "No, like we're playing, right?" And so I remember him jumping off the porch because it was a concrete porch, and I remember him jumping off the porch, and he chased me. He he was chasing me around the house, and I make mention of that because I'm gonna come back to that. So I remember him chasing me around the house, and boom, 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 boom. So mind you, what's weird about this man though is that I really don't have a memory of him before, be, be, before that day.
I honestly don't have a memory of this man. And then the weird thing about it is that my grandmother had went to oddly enough go pick up my mom down in Mississippi. So she left my brother and I with him, and then she ended up like leaving all of the kids like in different places. But long story short, so my brother and I stayed at the house, but we stayed with this man who like she didn't even know, basically, essentially or whatever, or this pedophile. So I remember it was in the summer, and it was hot outside, and my brother and I was just playing. Like we had like my brother and I's relationship, like we lived in our own world, literally, and we would imagine and had a huge imagination, and we were playing hide go seek, whatever it was. But I just remember because the house was a two-story house, a two-story wood house, and it was a concrete. And so I remember being outside. And so it was a porch, and then up from the porch to the right was this fence, this post, and so the whites lived next door to that. So long story short, so I remember just sitting there and taking this thing, and I kept hitting it. I kept hitting it with it. Like I still don't know like why I was doing it, like whether to break or whatever it is, but it was like the more he told me, for like whatever reason, I didn't like this man, and I'm not sure, which I find it odd because typically, like I have a memory of like people or things for a while, but like I literally have no memory of this man before this day. But long story short, so I'm outside and I'm hitting this post. I'm hitting this post. I'm hitting this post, right? And he um, he jumped off the porch and he's like, "Come here." So across the street there was a church. There was a church that was across the street. So I'm running. I'm running church. I'm running like trying to stay away from him, right? And so he's chasing me. He's chasing me full force. He's chasing me. So he finally catches me, and he snatches me up by the back of my neck like he would a dog, and then he runs me in the house. And I remember we made it inside the house, and then my grandmother's room was just like it was a double door. It probably would have been like a formal dining room at one point, and then she just put a mattress in there. So he takes me in there, and this particular day, despite the fact it had been daylight and in the dead of summer, this particular day, I remember it being very hot inside this house. It was very hot, and I remember it being dark, and it was very dark, like it was nighttime. But it was probably because of how like the lack of window and any light. There was a sheet that was up at that door, so it made the room very dark. And I remember him throwing me on the bed, and he's ripping my clothes off and ripping my pants off. And I remember yelling, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" Like the top of my lungs, like, "Stop! Don't do this! Don't do this! Stop! Stop! Stop!" And before I knew it, it was just like right when he entered, it was just like my body had just like, like zapped out. I think what it was, my body initially went into that much shock that something happened in my system where it completely like shot. It completely like broke my whole system. So I remember I never felt him on top of me, but it was just like an out of body experience because as he's on top of me and he's raping me, it was like my spirit was up in the room, like was a, above the bed, and he's raping me. I'm watching this man rape me. He's raping me. He's raping me, and there's blood everywhere. There's blood all over the sheets. There's blood everywhere, and I just remember, just like time passed because I don't want to draw too much on just, and then about like what seemed like hours had passed, and I remember when he was done. I remember laying there feeling nasty, feeling dirty, feeling like shameful. I felt disgusted, like my skin felt. And even years later, I have moments or like times when it's just like I'm scrubbing my skin, and that's one of the reasons why, even to this day, like I have an issue. I want to share this. Like I have a deep issue with taking baths or like showers. That probably sounds disgusting, but there's a part where, or certain points, right, that can be triggered to where I'm scrubbing. See how just like I'm scrubbing my body because I can't get clean enough. I can't get, like I'm scrubbing, and nobody knows this, but it's like I can't get clean enough. And it's not the dark skin concept. That's not what it is. But it's a psychological thing where it's just like no matter how I wipe and like how much I clean, like I can't scrub like his scent his body off of me. And so it's better now, but I can say like that's one of the most disgusting feelings that you can feel because it's just like your whole skin crawls. With that being said, and so I just remember just in that moment he's on top of me and I sent all that blood and I'm just saying all those things, right? And when he was done, it was just like my spirit came back into my body and I just remember laying there just like feeling like just laying there just feeling like I wanted to die. I wanted to literally die. And that's not the worst part though. I just and I remember him when he was getting ready to get off of me. I I, I remember him specifically telling me, whispering in my ear, that if I told anybody that he was gonna kill me and he was gonna kill my little brother. And that's what kept it secret. And I remember laying there, right? And I'm crying and I'm bawling and I'm crying, right? And I open my eyes and I look over. And I see my little brother sitting in the corner by the door, witnessing what this man just did. And to this day, my brother and I never spoke about it. He won't speak about it. And I remember just laying there crying, bawling and crying. And to add insult to injury, right? When he jumped up off the bed, he said, "Get your." He petitioned for me to commanded for me to get up and take the sheets and take them out back so he can burn them. And I remember taking the sheets off because he made me take the sheets off. And even the mattress had blood on it. Like there was blood all over the mattress. And he attempted to wash it, like clean it. And so, however, I think when my grandmother and them got back, right, she must have seen it because the mattress was flipped over and the type of mattress it had to be on one side. So, or she asked where the sheets was at, and I think she realized what he had did, and she picked him up and slammed him on the thing, and ended up assaulting him, and he ended up running away. But she slammed him so hard. I remember her slamming him so hard on that concrete, and he jumped up immediately like a cat or a rabbit, and he shot off. He shot off into the yard, and for years I just felt like because I was like hitting that thing, or just like somehow I provoked him. Like somehow I I warranted what he did to me, and for years I just felt like it was my fault for like enticing him or making him angry. And then being afraid because he used my little brother against me, because he was adamant on the fact that if I told anybody that he was going to both kill myself and my little brother, and it even more than myself, because that's the type of person I am, right? Where I care more about people than myself, and so I couldn't let that happen. I couldn't. I had to protect my little brother, so I kept the silence, and so I remained silent and didn't tell nobody. But it was when my grandmother must have realized what this man had did, because she did what she did, and you would think this is another scar. You would think that I understand. I understand the situation differently today, but I'm just allowing you in to the mindset of, if you ever been around anybody who's ever been molested, or been around anyone who's been raped, or so you'll have an understanding of what it is that they experience, and the guilt and the shame. That's all part of the guilt and the shame, that somehow they feel that they could have changed it, or it could have been different, or somehow it was something that they did. The reality is that a predator is a predator. And so I just remember, just even after that, and my family members found out about it, of it just being a joke. And when I needed someone the most, right, this is, I never made this connection, and even looking at what's going on right now, right, is that when I needed them the most, it was just like, it wasn't there. They was not available. And actually, not only was they not available, but it was put on, or it was put towards me like somehow it was my fault, that 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 I wanted that's something that I did to provoke him. That's why he chose me. And so the reality is, and know what I know today, that I know the predators, with my grandmother having so many children, and that's the bad thing about having so many kids, because you can't keep up with all at all times. And so what happens is that they go for the weakling. They go for the one that's ostracized. They go for the one who need love. They go for the silent one. They go for the loner. And so we've been in an environment where all of those things was present. I know for myself, it just, I stuttered. I didn't speak. I was just, I just didn't speak. And just full of anxiety, and all of these things. And so it was a perfect victim. And so despite being embraced with open arms, I was ostracized, and I was bullied, and I was picked on, and I was made fun of, because somehow I was weak. And so those are the things that like somehow my actions was the cause of his action, which never lined up. You see what I'm saying? Because there's no way that a 6-year-old boy or a 6-year-old child can consent to a sexual act. Nowhere. And so that taught, or that sent the message like, you're not lovable. You're not only are you not lovable, neither parent is here. Who is going to come to your defense? And so somehow, so what happens is that as time went on, that you learn how to not feel. You learn how to detach. In order to survive, you teach yourself how to detach, and you teach yourself how to become emotionless. And the only emotion that it is acceptable, oddly enough, is anger. If you let a motherfucker know what you feel, boom, 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 not going boom, boom, boom. But anything beyond that point, or anything of that nature, it was an environment where you were weak, or you were, and then it didn't help that, despite the fact that my grandmother being the head of the house, or the matriarch, like she wasn't a consoling, she wasn't a like touchy feeling person, and so you just didn't get that. So you had to survive on your own. You see what I'm saying? So you you have to find your place, and I remember when that angel came to me, and that's another story. But I would say this, that even after all of that, and the most devastating thing that would happen is that somehow I blamed myself, that I brought this man attention to me, that I is what I wanted. And the reality is that it's not. We can let go of that guilt. We can let go of that shame. We can let go of the lies and deception, because there's nothing that you could have done as a child. As a young child, there is nothing that you could have possibly have done to provoke a grown man, a grown being, a grown person, a predator. There's no way that you could have enticed him to do what he did. So you can let go of that guilt, you can let go of that shame, and allow your healing process. If you're watching this, you must allow your healing process to begin. And I just remember even years now. So after that, shortly after that, when you include this whole, now I started hearing the F word. That's the ends with the G, and somehow I wanted that somehow. Um, as a result, um, that this is what it was, a weakness, and so if I wasn't ostracized before that, even more so. So when people should have been loving and embracing and consoling, they were judging and they were bullying, and they was, and only by the grace of God that I'm here today. Only by the grace of God that I didn't end it, that I didn't take the easy road, or that I know today that my story is here to help you. If you're watching this video, you you must, for that little boy, that little girl that's inside of you, you must stick and hold on to it like your life depend upon it, because it does. And that's something beautiful that remains within you, and you know what it is. For me, it's my strength, it's my tenacity, it's my fighting spirit to win, and to have that life that I know that God has promised me, that I've seen, that He's foretold to me. And so I say, love you, learn how to embrace you, learn how to just live, learn how, and living, you're gonna make mistakes. In living, you're gonna say the wrong things, you're gonna do the wrong things, but in living, you're allowing yourself to heal. You're allowing yourself to be the true person, the true man, the true woman that you're supposed to be. That guilt and that level of shame and that level of just disgust no longer has to weigh you down. That you're free. You've been set free. You have been set free. So embrace your freedom. Step into your freedom. That it didn't break me. That experience did not break me. And not only did it not break me, the things that God is getting ready to do within my life to help others, to teach others, to love others. And I know, even if I haven't met the love of my life, I know that I'm worthy of love. I know that the love and the support that I need is coming. He's coming. So I open my heart, I open my mind, I open all that is within me, and I can embrace me today. That no matter what that man did, he didn't take my innocence that day. He didn't break me that day. That my virtue is within me. That who I am resides deep within me. That I am worthy to love. I'm worthy to be loved. I'm worthy to feel the highest sense of utopia this side of heaven. That I'm worthy to bask in my glory. That I'm worthy to have the life, have the children, have the family. He didn't take none of that, and he won't take none of that. I am lovable. I am loving. I am compassionate. I'm a genuine person who loves life. I love life and I love being who I am. And as I step into who I am, as I'm learning daily of who I am, you can too. When we start to speak to the trauma, that we no longer have to hide it in the shadows. That we can speak to that trauma. That we can set ourselves free. That it no longer that trauma no longer has the power that it once did. That trauma no longer has to fuel that self hatred. It no longer has to fuel that sabotaging behavior. I love me today, and then loving me, I would do everything in my power to have the best life, become the best version of me through hard work, through dedication, through getting my education, that I can have the life that when that angel came and visited me that night, and when she showed me the things that she showed me, we don't have to compromise. That everything that you've gone through, everything I've gone through, I now understand that it's to help man, it's to help mankind, it's to help others. That despite the fact of it appearing to be your darkest hour, if you take 3 more steps, that light is at the end. There's still light there. So I tell you, through my own personal experience, that you have every right to have the life that you desire. You have every right to have the love that you desire. You have every right to have the person that supports you, the love that's caring, that gives you everything that you give to them like a boomerang. And to reach the highest escalon of the society, of this life, of this living that you too can have heaven here on earth. And in the process of letting go of those chains, letting go of that guilt, letting go of that bondage, letting go and finally realizing if what it is, that a predator is a predator. But he can't take anything that God gave you. And that's self-love. That's your faith. That's your fighting spirit. That's your determination to succeed no matter what obstacles that come in your way. You owe it to you and the little boy that resides, the little boy or girl that resides deep within you. You've been set free. Walk out the cell. I've been set free. I embrace, I receive the freedom that I gain today. I receive the wealth, I receive the prosperity, I receive the love that God pours into my life today. I receive the wealth, I receive the prosperity, I receive the love that God showers into my life today. I receive the healing, I receive the prosperity, I receive the joy and peace that God pours into my life today. I receive the wealth and abundance. I receive the life. I receive the living. I receive the joy. I receive the life of abundance, prosperity, of love, of inspiration and motivation that God pours into my life today. You've been set free. And I receive my freedom. I receive the love. I receive the guidance. I receive the independence that God pours into my life today. And so can you. I receive it. So can you. That everything that we've ever asked Him for is here. I receive it, Father, in your Son, Jesus' name. As I end here, I receive the whole of me, the completeness of me, of loving me, who is worthy to be loved today. And so are you.